Hello grapplers, Kerplunk over here. Today we have to talk about Drive Rush. First of all, the most obvious one, and this is not news for anyone. Drive Rush doesn't do a lot of damage. And that is the Drive Rush without getting any kind of counter hit or punish counter, that's just standing light kick DRC. It is not the best. Even if you get a punish counter, the damage is still pretty low. And that is the realistic whiff punish with standing light kick. You can technically whiff punish with crouching medium punch, going to a combo into headbutt or standing heavy punch, and deal 3060 damage. If you want to continue the Oki, you have to Drive Rush, and the Oki from regular Lariat is not the best. So you're roughly spending 4 meters to get that damage and that Oki. To be honest, I've been trying to do this more often to see what happens, and very often I end up in burnout, with just one decision away from winning or losing the round, and that is no bueno for Zangief. So I've been thinking a lot about how to improve the meter management with Zangief, and even though I already have a video about this will include new things, so consider this the update version of that video. How do we whiff punish if we want to get decent damage and decent Oki? By far, sweep is the better option. Easy to react at 12 frames. If you really get used to it, you will punish most things with crouching heavy kick, the sweep. The second good whiff punisher is standing medium punch. If you're in range for the full target combo, you will get around or above 2000 points of damage. That is also decent. Special mention to standing heavy punch and standing heavy kick. Both of them can be used for certain whiff punishers, but more often than not, you will have to whiff punish with standing medium punch or sweep. As you know, as I already mentioned, the DRC, especially the regular one, is 1790. That is really low damage, and you have to Drive Rush. And that is pretty common for Zangief players to, even when they're close, they try to react after 3 lights into that combo. And that is even lower damage, because now you used 3 lights. The recommendation is always going for OD Lariat and then Drive Rush. You have a strike throw mix up here, standing medium punch, light SPD, or you can let go of the Drive Rush a little bit more and go for headbutt. If you really want to spend 3 meters of your drive, just going to OD Lariat and Drive Rush almost every single time. There's literally only a few very specific cases where you don't want to use OD Lariat, and one is having low drive meter and the other one is having them in the corner. If you already have the opponent in the corner, don't go for OD Lariat, just use regular Lariat because the Oki is already pretty good, only in the corner. You have to get used to ending almost every single combo into OD Lariat Drive Rush. Now you can jump forwards. I've seen some Zangief doing this. That is basically an empty jump. I wouldn't call it safe jump, but it's an empty jump. Force a super, a parry or something. However, if you commit to the attack, and this is used against characters who don't have any kind of reversal or fast reversal, so they have to wake up with parry, you might want to do this. The issue there is they can wake up with parry. They just tap parry when they wake up and they will parry your jumping heavy punch. The Oki from here is usually standing medium punch or light SPD depending on the combo and distance, or medium SPD even in some instances, or you can go for knee. My recommendation is always going for either this one or light SPD. You can go for headbutt again, but just be careful. Sometimes you can mistime the headbutt and you will not get the plus 14, so you might not get the headbutt into headbutt. You have to practice that combo. And obviously they can wake up parry, shoryukens, you know, supers. What if I want to recover meter? Let's say I have this amount of meter. Maybe you used way too many OD Lariats, or maybe you went for a DRC incorrectly, so you now need to recover meter. You recover meter by hitting the opponent, but also certain moves or certain situations give you more meter than others. For example, the best one by far, if you really want to recover meter, is SPD. Maybe you're in this position, go for SPD, and during the entire animation, you will recover meter. The other one is getting combos. Either the best one is just using headbutt, obviously, but sometimes you might need to use hell stab into Lariat or crouching medium punch into Lariat, for example this one. That also gives you more or less one entire drive of meter if you want the combo with Lariat. The other one is Russian suplex. And of course Siberian Express. Regular throws, even though I love Spinebuster, they don't give you that much drive meter, so don't try to get meter by doing regular throws. And remember that if you walk back, you recover your meter slowly compared to walking forwards. Now, if you don't want to use Drive Rush or Drive Rush cancel combos, still want to Drive Rush, there are 3 Drive Rushes I feel you should use. The first one is Drive Rush Standing Medium Punch. This is fantastic. Good range, very hard to whiff punish for the opponent because the Standing Medium Punch pushes Zangief's hurt box a little bit back. Second one is Drive Rush Light SPD. You do have to get used to the distance, but once you do, it is also pretty decent because remember, light SPD is 5 frames and it has a lot of range, so you have to get used to the distance of light SPD. Technically, you can do heavy if you're really crazy and the opponent respects you way too much. You can perfectly do heavy because the momentum of the Drive Rush pushes you forwards a little bit, so you might be in heavy SPD range even if you don't think so. And the final one is for baiting up stuff. I've seen some Zangief players do this. The issue with Stomp is how slow it is and how slow it recovers. Look at this. Remember, you have to use a Drive Rush, so that's 11 frames. You have to add all of the other frames, so at the end of the day, you end up with that huge move just to bait something up. The other option I've seen some people do is throw. And while you stop your momentum with throw, it is more or less the same thing. You recover in 23 frames. So my recommendation is using crouching light kick. Even though you move forwards a little bit compared to the other moves, you recover so fast or at faster than the other moves, you will be in time to recover and do something else. Because that's the idea. You're trying to bait something and then react faster to whatever they're doing. What's the idea here? Try to use less Drive Rush cancels. Use a lot of OD Lariat into Drive Rush so you can keep the Oki going. If you need to close the distance, Drive Rush Standing Medium Punch will most likely be your best tool. A special mention, by the way, before I forget, a lot of Fireballs characters tend to use single hit Fireballs. If that is the case, remember you can Drive Rush Standing Heavy Punch, slightly charge the Standing Heavy Punch so you can absorb one hit. It's also a good tool. You need to combine that with Crouching Light Kick in order to just bait stuff and Light SPD in order to grab people. And if you need to recover meter, SPD might be your best tool and the easiest one to do. Otherwise, you need to poke the opponent with something or get a combo. Usually when I'm low on drive meter, I try to poke them just to keep my meter regenerating. And if possible, I will very likely reset into SPD just to get my meter back. And then once I have enough meter, probably around 4 drive meters, I will stop the offensive again with raw Drive Rushes or, you know, the other things I mentioned. I do want to know what things you are doing with your Drive Rush, because I feel we need to move away from Drive Rushes. Even though sometimes they're needed, if you're gonna kill, please go for a DRC. If you have Super Level 3, of course, DRC into Super Level 3 will be around 5k if you use Crouching Medium Punch as your Whip Punisher. Otherwise, it is slightly less than 5k. We need to have a more controlled use of Drive Rush, because otherwise we will be losing. And let me tell you, it is pretty common for Zangief players to use autopilot into doing DRCs, even on block, that lead nowhere. It happens to me too. Health with Zangief is significant, where it is very important. However, I'd say between health and drive, we need to really pay attention to the drive meter rather than to the health. Thank you as always. If you really like this video, please subscribe. Give a follow to the Siberia Lab on Twitch. Pretty fun stuff. We have a lot of stuff going on over there, obviously. As always, take care, keep playing grapplers, hydrate, sleep well, and I'll see you in the next one.